Hello guys, welcome to Coding Wizards. My name is Akash Sharma and I have 7 years of experience in Android and Flutter development. And in this video we will talk about routes and navigation in Flutter. So in this video we will learn all about like how to navigate from one screen to another screen, and also pass data between the screens, whether you want to send some data or whether you want to receive some data from the another screen. So let's start. So here we have a main method for binding our widget to the screen. Then I have created a model for sending the data to the next screen, so that we can understand like instead of like a string or some generic values, we can send a object as a whole to the next screen. So let's see. So here we have basically in the Flutter we have two ways to navigate from one screen to another. First one is like direct material page route. It is quick and flexible, but it is not recommended. Another one is we have named routes, where we can define in one place all the screens and their names, and then we can call simply Navigator.to-named. So it is a centralized way to create all the define all the routes. It is clean, and we can also have option to whenever we will use a state management solution, if we have some dependencies, we can inject here. So let's, in this example we are not using any third-party library. We are simply working with the whatever Flutter provides out of the box. So in this video we will use Navigator, and let's see. So here we have 4 ways, and total we have 2 ways. So we are we will see different examples, and there is also a onGenerateRoute and onUnknownRoute function. So let's see. So here in main app we are returning a material app, that is default. Then we have name, and this part is related to the navigation. So here first way is to if we want to give the named routes, we can write like this. We get the routes function parameter from the material app, where we can pass it a map of string and a function which will return a visit. So here we have defined our routes. So in this example I have defined the second screen with and a function, then arrow function, where we are returning a second screen. So here we can also inject dependencies. We want to something initialize something, so here we can do that. When we will use getX, we will see the example of that, how we can inject some dependencies here. So in this example we are purely focusing on the navigation, so we are not injecting any dependency, or we will not talk about the dependency injection. So here we have defined a named route second, where we have returned a second screen. Then we have onGenerateRoute. So I have added a print statement, so that we can see that for which route it is getting triggered. Then we have if the route name is equals to generate, then we are returning second screen again, just a different way. Then we have a unknown route function, where we will get the callback whenever we fail to define some screens or routes inside this. So let's see the first one. Let's see the home screen. So here we have 4 buttons. First one is, let's collapse it. Okay, so I have created a simple show result method, which will show the snack bar, whatever result will be returned from the another screen. So let's see the first one. So it is a direct route with the constructor. So there are two ways. First one is direct way, like we can do Navigator.push, and we can simply pass the context and a material page route where we get the builder. In that we return the screen. So here simply we are pushing a new route, like a direct route, material page route. So when we click on this, it will go to the this screen. So we are also passing the data through the constructor, like whenever we create the object of this screen, we pass the data. This data is defined here, like we have seen the data class here. This is the data class. So we have created an object of this person data, and we are simply passing that data to the second screen. And in the second screen we have final person in the constructor. So we can pass data through the constructor. So this is a direct way where we don't define any named routes. We simply, whenever we want to push a new screen, we simply wrap it inside the material page route and invoke it like that. And when we press this button on the second screen, let's see here, like this button, so here we are returning some data back to the first screen. Let's see, this one is clicked, return data is equal to second. So this where this value is defined, so it is defined here. So whatever we want to return back to the like calling a screen, we can simply, like Navigator.pop is used to close the screen. Then if we pass something, like if we go inside that, it accepts a result of t type. So we have two parameters. First one is context, second one is a optional parameter, because it is enclosed in a like array brackets. So it is a optional parameter because it is null, so we don't define the default value. So if we want to give it some value, we can add it here. Like if we want to return simply the same object that has been provided here, so we can return it like this same object. So there is no limitation like whether we can pass only strings, integer. We can also pass object like user data, list of something, items, like that. So here concept is simple, that we pass the data through the constructor and we return the data through the Navigator.pop in the result optional parameter. Then in the moving to the next button, so when we get the data from the next screen, we simply await the result. This is the first way of like getting data of from this screen back to this. So whenever we push a new screen, it returns the result like future, and it will return whatever data we will return from the next screen in the Navigator.pop. So we will get the results here. Since it is a we are adding await and it is a async function, so it will block the execution, like this part will be on hold until the result is we get the result from this thing, or if we are not returning something from that, so we will receive simply null value or void. So it is a dynamic because here we can cast it, but it is a type T, so it is default dynamic. So it may be void also if we are not returning something from the here. If we don't return anything, so it will be basically null. So like that. If we run this, go to the this screen, return from this, so it is like null. So this is the thing. If we don't return anything, we will receive the null value here. So next example is direct route with the argument. So in this example, we are passing through the constructor. Let's say we have some complex data, we cannot pass through the constructor. Then we have another option to pass the data to the next screen via arguments. So we have material page route, then we have a builder second screen, and in the settings, like if we go inside this, it has a builder, it has a settings, we have maintain state, full screen, there are a lot of options. So in this example we will focus on the navigating a new screen, like pushing a new screen. So here we are returning a second screen. Then in the settings we have passed the route settings which accepts a name and arguments. So we are, since we are passing the arguments, so we have made it named. So we are adding a name, like we want to pass data inside this. If we default go with this, it will show some error because first one is a string. So that's why we need to add arguments before it to specify that we are passing this thing to the argument. So this is the second way to the pass data to the new screen using this direct way, like with the material page route. So when we click on this, it will receive the same thing, and let's see how we are getting this data inside this. So constructor is null, we are not passing any value inside this, so it will be null. So next thing is we have a way to retrieve arguments from the settings. So here the syntax is ModalRoute.of context. So we define the location, like passing that context so that it can get the location of the visit. Then from that we are accessing settings, and from that we are accessing arguments. Since we know that we have passed a person data type, so we are making it like casting it as person and making it nullable. In the previous example we haven't passed anything in the settings, so we make it nullable. So whatever thing will be passed from the first screen, it will be received here. Then in the next line we are checking that if we haven't received any data from the constructor, then simply assign the argument to the display person, the final object that will be shown on the screen. So if display person is not equal to null, then we are simply displaying it inside the text, and if it is null, that we haven't received any data from the constructor or from the arguments, then simply no data received. And in this case also we are simply returning the same thing, like when we click this button, let's refresh it. So we return the same thing, data is equal to second, and this one. So this is the another way to pass the arguments. First one is a direct constructor, second one is via the setting arguments, like route settings. Then we have next option, if we define some named arguments, named routes. So in the main method we have defined here that we can combine these things, like we can open some screens with the material page route and define some named routes here also, and we can also generate some here. So let's see this example. So here we have defined a named route second, so it will open a second screen. So here we have same thing, here we are using the push, and since we have named route, so here we are using push named. So it is pushing the named route, so we pass the name of the route, like we have passed the second, and here we can pass the arguments here. In the previous example we passed the arguments via route settings, here we can pass it directly inside the push named function. So here we have context, route name and argument. So here we have passed our person data. Then we are going to the next screen. Let's click this button. Then simply receiving data on the other screen is simple, same whether we pass via material page route settings arguments or with the push named arguments, we will receive data in this format only. So it will remain the same in both the cases. So simply it on this screen things are same as in the previous examples because this screen is same. So when we click this button, it will return same data again. So here we are, since we have awaited the result, we got the data back here, and we simply, because it is a async function, so there is a best practice that do not use context across async functions. So we are simply checking if context is still mounted, so screen is still visible, then only display the results via snack bar. So here it is a snack bar, otherwise it will simply ignore this thing. Okay, so this is the named route with arguments. Then we have onGenerateRoute with arguments, this one. So here you see that we get two more functions, this one and this one. So these are the things used when you push something using named. So when you push something using push named and define a route, and this route does not exist in this list, then it will go to this function. Okay, so in this format also we are passing the data via arguments, and here we are changing our way to get the data back. So let's see first the functionality of this, then we will talk about this thing. So there is a famous popular interview question related to this dot then. So let's click on this. So we have opened a new screen and we have passed the data and received the data via this ModalRoute.of context and settings arguments, and displayed it here, return data returned here. So let's see how this thing is working. So here we have simply pushing a route. So if we see the logcat, we have a on generate route /generate, the log is printed. So where it is defined inside this. So whenever we push using named routes, if that route does not exist in the routes table, then this method will be triggered. And since we have checked that if route is generate, then return this thing, then here here either we can pass this thing from got the settings arguments here direct and pass it via the constructor, or we can simply get that arguments here directly. So there are both the ways, you can use whatever suits you. So in this example, when we get the data back from this screen, here this data, in the earlier examples we are awaiting the result. In this example we are not awaiting the result, it is not a async function. So in this function we are simply calling dot then, and whatever data has been returned, it will be in the results. So it is a object, nullable object. So here we are checking if context is mounted and then display the snack bar. So difference between await and this, let's talk about these two things. If we write like this or write like this and print something here, end of en function. So if we go with this first, let's go with this first and close this one and simply rerun this. So when we click on generate route, it has triggered the on generate route because generate is not defined in the routes table. Then it has printed this line. So it is not blocking the thread, it is not waiting for the result. And when we return click on this, it will return the data, like data here, this one. So in this case we have not waited for the result. Simply when we get the results, we will perform some option inside then method. So there is a I sometime ask in the interview, what is the other way of getting data from a async function without like using await. Like if we don't want to use await, then what is the other way to get the data out of this future? Like it returns a future, so how to get the data out of future without using await or async? So async await is used with the async, so without using async await, what is the another way or solution to get the data out of future function which returns a future? So this is the way, this is a way. So here we have simply added then operator. So if we go inside this, it has been defined on the future, like it returns a it is a generic function we can call from the future, like it is defined in the future class. Let's see where is the class. So here it is the class. So it is inside defined in the futures class. So from whatever thing is returning future, we can simply add dot then there, and then return perform some option inside that on value. So it will be inside, the result will be inside this, and we will get the callback inside here. So this is the another way of resolving a future without using async await. Okay, so let's add this print statement in the above, like here. And it is a named route with argument. So when we click on the screen, see there is no log printed for this function, because it is holding here, the execution has been halted here. So as long as this screen is opened, the code will not, this code will not be executed, because we are waiting for the result. Once we close the screen, this log has been printed that we have got some results, and simply because we have pressed the back button here, press the back button, so it is returning null value, because on the back we haven't added Navigator.pop with like arguments some result. So default is like when we use app bar, there is a default back button, so default back button doesn't return any data, so that is why we are getting the null. So difference is clear. When we use async await, it will block the execution until return is result is returned, and when we use this way of getting the result, the thread will not be blocked, or this method will not be blocked until the result is awaited. So in this example, this line will get printed after we push the screen. So this will be executed later on when we get the callback, like when we get the data back from the another screen. So I think these are all the things. Let's see what is the use of this on unknown route. So here if we add something, like we have misspelled something, then in that case, if we click on this, nothing happens, because if you see the logcat, you will see the errors. On generate route is triggered and route name is generate1, then it has not returned any visit. So inside this, since this condition is false, so we are returning null. And if we whenever we push a named route, it will first check in the routes table. If we haven't defined there, then it will trigger onGenerateRoute. If it has returned a null value, it means that it is not able to handle the route, it does not have enough information. Then only it will trigger on unknown route, that we don't have any information about this route. So it will print like trigger this on unknown route method. And simply if we return something here, placeholder or some scaffold with the 404 page or screen, it will body text no, simply add 404. Okay, so it needs a route, so we can define material page route, and inside that scaffold body text 404 and simply wrap it inside the center. So let's run this. So see, now we got the 404 screen on the visible. So when we push something that is does not exist in the routes table, and onGenerateRoute is not able to handle that route, then this method will be triggered, and we can return some custom 404 or error page, that this page does not exist kind of thing. Then let's see one more thing. If we defined route like this /, only /, there is no home kind of thing, then we can skip this. If we have defined routes, named routes with the /, then we can skip this. If we run this app again, so home screen will be visible. So it is reading from this. So this is the default route for the home screen. If we have defined this, then we don't need to define the home screen separately. And if we add this, let's see, 404, so route does not exist. So it is basically saying that the / thing is does not exist. So generate route is only /, there is no name, because by default Flutter whenever opens the app, if there is no home screen, no initial route, no this thing, then it will open a matching with this in the routes table. And if there is no this thing in the routes table, then we'll go to the onGenerate. If it does not return any material page route, then it will go to the on unknown route. And apart from that, if we have like this, and here we can define home, here we can define home screen directly, or we can define a route, like in this case we have home. So we can either do this and run this app. So we have defined the route, it will match to this screen, and this screen is opened. Or we can do this, so it will open directly this home screen, it won't go to this screen. So if we haven't defined home or initial route or this thing, then there is no home screen for this thing, or we override that in onGenerateRoute. So I think all the things are cleared so far. So let's keep the original code. Okay, so these things are clear. Now let's move to some advanced level. So I prefer named routes. We define all the routes inside a file, then we map that to this. Let's see the example. So in the production level app, I mostly use this thing. So this is another example of another file entirely. So let's run this file. So here we have 5 buttons. In this example, we will use only named routes, and we will see different examples of navigation, like how we can close existing screen, move to the next screen, or replace keep the existing screen, go to the next screen, or close all the screen, go to the next screen and get back. So kind of things. Here we have defined routes inside like we have created this thing, a map. So if you check the type of this, so it is map string, and here we have a function which returns the screens. So we have defined all the app screens, like all the app routes. In this file we made the constructor private, so that it is like all the things are static, so we don't need constructor. So we have defined home, we have second screen, we have third screen. So always there is a like naming convention for the routes. Start with the // then all lowercase. If you have like some multiple words name, then we can write simply like this. So it should be lowercase snake case, so it is called snake case. So there are different cases, like this is a camel case, this is a snake case, so these are the two most commonly used patterns for the naming conventions. So one is a camel case, we name the variable according to the camel case, we name the routes according to the snake case. Also we name files as snake case, we name files following this convention, snake case. We name variables, we use camel case. And there is one more thing like uppercase camel case or something like that, which is used for the class naming, like all the like camel case first character is lower, then all the rest of the words first character is uppercase. So in the class name all the first word characters are uppercase. So this is how naming conventions are defined in the Dart. If you write like this, so this is also valid, but it is not like when you open some website on the browser, you will generally see pattern like this, all the pages are defined like this. So that is why this is the naming convention in the Flutter. So let's keep the name second. So here we have defined all the screen names, like all the names for the routes. Here we have defined like which screen will be opened on which route. So for home we are using default /. So for the home we have given it this, for second screen we have given this. We have also third screen, but we are using another way to use that. So here we have assigned this variable directly here routes, because the type of this is map string visit function, and type of this is also the same, map string, and this is the function which returns a visit. So we have given it all the routes. We have defined initial route, since we are using /, so we can skip this if you want. So for this example I have given that if you name something different like home here, then you have option to define the route name here exclusively. So then we have on generate route, same thing that we have discussed in the previous example. So let's see the in this example where is the home screen, named home screen. Okay, so in this example we have, let's collapse all the buttons so that we can visit one by one. Okay, so in this example we already have seen how we can push a named route. So first one is go to the second screen without any data, so we are not passing any data via constructor or with the argument. So simply Navigator.push named second screen, because second screen is defined inside the routes and route has been assigned to this. So this is the route table, it is called a route table. So it will open the second screen. Let's go to this. So no data received, the second screen is same as in the previous example, so all the things are same. So this is argument, since here we have constructor thing, so it is the same from like existing, everything is same. So here, okay, so return to home, since we have also seen the return data, how to return data from next screen to the back screen, so we are skipping this. Even if we return the data, we are not awaiting it or using then, so it won't be printed or anything. So this is the simple example of pushing a named route to the named route to open a new screen. So let's go to the next example. So here we have go with the argument. So if we click on this, we have passed some data via arguments. We have given the route name, we have given the arguments, method is same, push named, so it has opened a new screen, passed the data, and data is printed in the text view. Then here also we are not awaiting any result, so there is no point of returning data to the first screen. Then we have await result from the second screen. So in this example we have did the push name. So these are the things same as in the previous example, just that in this example all the things are using named routes. In the previous example we are mixing, like we have seen MaterialPageRoute, onGenerate, onUnknown. So in this example, this is like when you write a production level code, you will write like this. So you will define all the route name here. Reason behind writing here is, in the previous example we have seen, like if we misspell something, so it can trigger on unknown routes. That is why we are making that constant, so that all the routes are in the single file and they cannot be misspelled, like we are doing things like this. So this cannot be misspelled because it is a constant variable, we have made it variable. That is the reason of using this. So let's await result. So we have opened a new screen using the same method, we have returned data. So from that data is equal to second. So that is how. Then in the next example, here we have used await. So here next example is, we just let's say we have a login screen and we want to, or forget password screen or OTP screen. So on verification or after completing all the things, we want to close previous screen and open a new screen. So for that we have push replacement named. Similarly, if we are not using named, then we also have push replacement method like this. It also exists, it needs a MaterialPageRoute. So push replacement named will replace the existing screen and go to the next screen. And in this case, if you want to pass some data, we have arguments. So this screen is open. Now if we go back, app is closed because there is no home screen. Home screen is also already replaced by the this second screen. let's open it again. And in the previous example, if we press this button, the home screen is still there. In this example, if we press this button, there is no screen, that is why it is showing black. So we simply go back. So this is how we can replace existing screen with the new screen. Then we have let's see, we want to clear stack and go to the second screen. Let's see, we have a login screen, then we have a OTP screen, and if user fails to provide OTP or user want to edit his number, then he can go back to the login screen. From there he can again send OTP and go to the OTP screen. Then if user enters a valid OTP, then only we want to close login screen plus OTP screen. Otherwise there must be an option for user to go back to the mobile number screen to change the number. So in that case we want to clear let's say all the previous routes. So in that case we have push named and remove until. So as long as it is false, it will remove all the routes and push the new screen, second screen. So clear stack, go to the second screen, it has come to second screen, it has opened the second screen. But if we go back, there is no screen because we have removed all the screens. Since in this example there is only home screen, and as long as this condition is false, it will remove all the previous routes. So here we can define that if current route is home, then don't close it, or if it is not, then close it, like that. So this is used for clearing previous routes that are already in the back stack. So these are the examples of navigation in the Flutter. I think once you understood these things, then there will be no other things to no other things are left apart from this, except that if you are using any third-party library, they have some different kind of navigation system. Like in getx you get get.toNamed, get.back kind of things. There is also a Go router for the navigating, for managing navigation. So those are the things library specific. So in this example, I think let's see if there is anything left. Push named, I think that's all in this example. So in this case, let's see what is inside the main. Okay, so here something, okay, let's see this example also. So here we have onGenerateRoute, and on home screen, if we simply instead of second screen we write something like this, then if we click this, so not found screen. So here on onGenerateRoute I am matching if in the routes table we don't have that route which is being called. It means that in this map this route does not exist. It means it is equals to null. Then whatever message is, go to the not found screen, it is a separate screen. And we have used here MaterialPageRoute. So this is what I want to show, that with the named route you can also return a MaterialPageRoute, so wherever you want. But best practice is define all the routes inside a single file, then define a route table inside another file, and then assign this map to the main function. Then if you have named home something else, then you can define initial route, and you must override on unknown route, so that whenever there is some unknown route, you show some custom screen rather than getting red screen or errors in the logcat. So this is always a best practice to override this thing or this thing, as long as you are returning some custom screen for 404 where route is null. So if it does not exist in the routes table, then we are returning not found screen. Or you simply write, you can write simply this thing inside this, remove this, like this. In this case also it will work. See, so I think that's all from navigation and routing, and I hope it is clear to you. And in the next video we will talk about API integration, handling the UI state, loading, error, success, everything about the API handling. We will see different examples of API integration. Like I have seen a lot of videos on YouTube, they are just simply writing http.get and return the data inside the widget directly, or either they are adding the http.get inside the widget or controller. They are not making a dedicated service for that or dedicated repository for that. We will learn all of these things in the next video. So next video maybe it will be a longer video, so because we want to cover everything about API integration in single video, because if we make a make it fragmented, then you won't be able to understand most of the things, because we will see all the ways that people are using, ways that some people are teaching, ways that should be used, and all the the best way out of them. So we will learn about these things in the next video. You will get a better understanding about API integration and all. We will also see the example of HTTP retrofit or maybe Git connect. We will use multiple networking libraries, so you can get the idea about how to pass data in the headers, how to pass query parameters, path parameters, body, font data, everything. So video will be longer, but you will get the idea, and you won't need to watch any other video after watching that video. So that's my promise. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching.